Okay, so boom. I went to the U.S. Treasury sanction database, right? Didn't know that was a thing, so that's interesting. And what I found connects directly to what's happening right now. And when I say like what's happening right now, I mean like right now. These aren't even like random countries. Like when you start looking, you're like, oh, wait a minute. These are like actively listed and updated. When I say like actively listed and updated, I mean like, look at this. Look at the dates. 2025, 2026. You talking about 26 as in 2026, like right now? Yeah. This is March 22nd, 2026. Child, it's on here right now. Recent updates, real recent, right? For what? Russia, Iran, Venezuela. Interesting. But here's what's really interesting, right? Here's what's really interesting. These are the same countries that are listed as priorities in Project 25. So now you know you're not just looking at headlines, right? You're not looking at headlines anymore. You're looking at alignment. You are looking at alignment. So I want you to go ahead and listen to this as I break down certain areas from what that we've been reading in what Project 25. Okay? Stay tuned. Very pointed language about the place. And so this phenomenon is on display in the infuriating fact that 4 of the 6 richest countries in the counties in the United States are suburbs of Washington, D.C., a city infamous for its lack of native productive industry. Okay, so even some inward dialogue that's very pointed. We see the same corruption expressed on an individual level whenever billionaire climate activists who want to outlaw carbon fuel deforestation fly the A-list conferences on their private jets, or when COVID-19 shut down politicians like former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and California Governor Gavin Newsom were caught at the hair salon or dining at fancy restaurants after moralizing about how everyone else must stay home and forego such luxuries during the pandemic. For socialists who are almost always well-to-do, socialism is not a means of equalizing outcomes, but a means of accumulating power. They never get around to helping anyone else. Very specific language, right? So now, this framing. The Soviet Empire, economic failure. North Korea, despite the opulence of its tyrants, poorest nations in the world. Cuba is so corrupt that its people regularly used to escape to Florida on rafts. Venezuela was once the richest nation in South America. Today, a decade after the Marxist dictator took over, 94% of Venezuelans live in poverty. Even Socialist Senator Bernie Sanders' home state of Vermont was forced to repeal the state's single-payer healthcare system just 3 years after creating it. Okay. Very, very strong imagery and presentation of these other countries, right? And once again, I told you there'll be certain countries that you can see are referenced a certain kind of way. What was the word? The 5 priority countries, right? We're starting to see some framing around these countries already, right? We already see some framing. And this is coming directly out of Project 25. I'm reading it aloud, right? In every case, socialist elites promised that if only they could direct the economy, everything would be better. Very quickly, everything got worse. In socialist nations after socialist nations, the only way the government can or could keep its disgruntled people in line was to surveil and terrorize them. They stay. By contrast, in countries with a high degree of economic freedom, elites are not in charge because everyone is in charge, right? So they say elites are not in charge because everyone is in charge. People work, build, invest, save, and create according to their own interests and in service to the common good of their fellow citizens. There is a reason why the private economy hews in the maxim, the customer is always right. While government bureaucracies are notoriously user unfriendly, just as there is a reason why private charities are truthful and government welfare systems are not. It's not because grocery stores clerks and PTA moms are good and federal bureaucrats rather are bad. It's because private enterprises, for profit or nonprofit, must cooperate to succeed. And so, as the American people take back their sovereignty, constitutional authority, respect for their families and communities, they should also take back their right to pursue the good life. The next president should promote pro-growth economic policies that spur new jobs and investments, higher wages and productivity. Yes, the agenda should include overdue tax and regulation reform. Should include overdue tax and regulation reform. Sounds like we have some receipts that are now Project 25 aligned. Okay, but it should not go further and include antitrust enforcement against corporate monopolies. It should not go further and include antitrust enforcement against corporate monopolies. It should promote educational opportunities outside the woke dominant system of public schools and universities, including and student loan alternatives that fund students' dreams instead of Marxist academics. Just as important as expanding opportunities for workers and small businesses, the next president should crack down on crony capitalist corruption that enables America's largest corruption or corporations to profit through political influence rather than competitive enterprise. Analogous pro-growth reforms for Americans or for America's voluntary civil society are also in order, right? America is not an economy, it's a country. Economic freedom is not the only important freedom. Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, and the freedom to assemble also represent key components of the American promise today, in addition to the problem of big tech censorship. In addition to the problem of big tech censorship, Project 25 alignment, you guys. Project 25 alignment. We have several receipts, several recent news articles. We've had a lot of conversation about deep fakes and different things like that popping up in the news, right? Project 25 alignment. Current conversation about the Gruder, that Elon Musk product, right? The censorship, right? Happening in multiple countries. There's the news that came out about this very specific AI, and there was a conversation about limiting access. The problem is so many Reuters articles have been coming out today. I don't even know if I could locate that one. Let me just pull it up. If I see the name, I'll know exactly. I know it started with a C. I will tag it and index it later so I can hear all day, y'all. But just know that once again, what we have Project 25 alignment. Because what we get into these receipts, we can see. So since today, in addition to the problem of big tech censorship, we see speakers at universities shouted down, parents investigated and arrested for attempting to speak at school board meetings, and donors to conservative causes harassed and intimidated. The next conservative president must defend our First Amendment right. Okay, heavy stuff. We have a heavy level of indexing just with that section, right? A lot of Project 25 alignment is being seen. Now, a lot of the news that you've seen me putting on the Legally Everywhere channel, they're starting to directly connect to the Project 25 document, the guidance that was offered. So now that was the second reference, right? This is one of the bigger sections. So now the other ones will actually be smaller, just so you know. Okay. This is direct directly going to take us there, right? So let's just jump really quick. Because as I told you, this particular document will shoot us right there. I know that we're on the third one. So hopefully, I don't think it'll allow me to do it because I'm in view mode. Let's see. Let's see, you guys. Is it going? I know you should be able to see, like right here, there is a link. All right, you made it to the end. What? I told you we was gonna come with them receipts. The kids say, what? We ate. What? Because we was getting into these receipts. I know you saw that, right? Alignment. So, with that being said, if you like content like this, go ahead and like the video. That lets YouTube know that you like the content and you support it being sent out to other people so that we can make sure that this information is being accessible out in the community who it's designed for, right? If you're someone where you like, listen, I like to marinate. Listen, we do a lot of marinating on information here on this channel. That's not a problem. Stay along and stick with us. And once you're ready, go ahead, subscribe. Subscribe only when you're ready, right? If you're really excited about this content, go ahead, comment, like, subscribe, and even share it to people who you feel like would also benefit from it. Once again, that lets YouTube know that you like this content. We do a lot of breakdowns on this channel. So I'm really hoping that you like this content and that you're finding something that you like. But also note, there may be other content, other mini-series, courses and things that are on this channel that you have not yet had an opportunity to explore. Go ahead on the page, look into that. We have lots of things happening here on this site. This is Legally Everywhere, where we're what, child? We looking into everything. This has been a very unique experience, and I will see you what in the next video because we want to do some more breakdowns. See you then. See you there next time.